Hello everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Gory Glory Makeup Tutorials. As you can see here, we have a sort of Frankenstein stapled together look. You can see we've got some staples in there. Some good stuff. So if you want to know how to get this fabulous look, please stay tuned for more. So as you can see, I already have a pretty normal everyday look on. You can do whatever you want with that. And then we are going to set up a roadmap for ourselves of exactly where we want the scars. I'm doing this with a brown brow pencil by Ben Nye. You can use whatever other kind of pencil you have, but I prefer the Ben Nye. Since this look is sort of a concoction of different faces, I am going to take a wedge sponge and fill in the different cells that I created for myself with different skin tones. The first one that I am putting in is the Ultra Beige Cream Foundation by Ben Nye. It pretty much matches my skin tone. The next color I am using is a cream highlight by Ben Nye called Ultra Light. It is just a bit lighter than my skin tone. And the last color is another cream foundation by Ben Nye. This one is called Light Beige, and it's just a little bit darker than my skin tone.
Temperature drops, the hot tart cool. Radio calling to you. Right out loud, she said. Right out loud.
Now that we have our roadmap set, we are going to actually put in our cuts. I'm going to show you two different techniques. The first one I am going to be using nose and scar wax for. This stuff is pretty tricky to use. So first, as you saw what I just did, I just lubed my fingers up with Vaseline and took a little tool to get a clump of the scar wax out. I rolled it into a little worm, and now I am pressing it into my skin just so it sticks. And then after that, I'm going to smooth it out with my fingers so that it blends into my skin and sticks just a little bit better than how it was sticking already. This stuff can be pretty tricky to use, so you want to make sure that your fingers are always lubed up with Vaseline or lotion, and you want to make sure that you're not playing with it too much, because when it gets warm it turns into this gross sticky mess. Once you have your first piece of wax secured, you can start on another little piece and just keep going with the exact same technique we just did until you have all of your scars down. Here is technique number 2. I am using toilet paper. You can also use tissue paper and liquid latex, and you're just going to tear up your toilet paper a little bit into some thin strips. Now what I'm doing is I am just tracing the line that we already drew with some liquid latex, and now I'm going to take the piece of toilet paper that we already ripped and just press it right into where I put the liquid latex down, and I'm just going to try to make sure that it's secure and smoothed out. And then I'm going to add another layer of liquid latex just to, really get it in there, really glue it down. Now that we have the basic outline for all of our cuts down, we are going to just put another layer of liquid latex down on top of it to make sure that everything stays secure and isn't sliding around. Then we're going to give that a few seconds to dry and put another layer on just to really lock it all in.
Find some hand to hold. Let the car coast with no light.
When you're using liquid latex, you have to make sure that it's really dry before you move on to the next step, because if it's not, it can really mess up your look. So give yourself a few fans before you go on, or use a hair blower and just fan yourself with it a little. Now here comes the scariest part of the whole entire process. I am going to cut into the scars that I have laid down with a very, very dull instrument, because if I use something sharp, it's going to cut the skin underneath. First, I cleaned it off to make sure there was nothing sticky on it, and I used a little bit of the Vaseline that I use on my fingers to give it a smoother surface. As you can see, I am just poking a couple holes into the scars and gently and slowly dragging the tool through the scars so that it rips a little bit. You're going to notice a difference between the scars that are done with nose and scar wax as opposed to the scars that are done with the tissue paper and latex, and that's perfectly fine. If it rips differently, then that's cool. I think it's gonna just give a different effect. You want to really take your time with this step, because if you mess up, you might have to start a whole entire scar over, and that's just no fun whatsoever. So now that we've opened it up, I am just going back in and covering up some of the scar wax with the foundation that we put on earlier, and it's going to tighten up the colors a little bit and just make everything pop a little bit more and blend the scar wax in with the skin. Now I'm just gently patting some translucent setting powder by Mehron onto my face so we keep all of the colors in place. Now we're going to deepen the cuts. I am using a pancake makeup or face paint just because it glides a little easier and the colors are very bright. I am using the black from the Monsters High kit by FX Cosplay, and it's water activated, so you just spray it with a little bit of water and then you take your paintbrush and dip it in and just drag it through the cut. Now comes my favorite part. I am taking a little bit of Stage Blood. This one's by Mehron, and I'm just dragging it through the cut where we just put the black. This part can get a little messy, but you know what? Go for it. I always think it looks better when it's messy. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Here comes the staples. If you are putting it in the nose and scar wax part, you don't really need to do a whole lot except press it very, very gently into the wax. You don't want to press too hard because then you cut yourself. Pressed against your mouth in motion. Play right, play right. Now for the part that's made of tissue paper. This part is a little trickier than the nose and scar wax, but it's not too hard. I'm just putting down little drops of liquid latex where I want the staple to go and just laying the staple right down on top of it. Then I'm covering the staple again with liquid latex. Now that I have all of my staples in and pretty much secure, I'm going back in and just covering them all with liquid latex just to make sure that they all stay pretty firmly. Now we're in the home stretch. It's time for some finishing touches. I put a little bit of my stage blood on a Q-tip and I've dabbed it over my face. Now I am adding some bruising across the cuts. I am using the standard bruise wheel by Ben Nye. I started with the lightest red color and just dabbed that in through. Then I went for the darker brownish red color, dabbed that through again. Then I took the black blue and finished it off with the yellow. Now I'm just adding some more stage blood to make it really gruesome and bloody. And voila!
Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. It was a lot of fun to do, as you can imagine. You should go ahead and try it. Please do the usual, like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe, and also follow my Instagram. It's goryglory_MUA. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial.